Waffle Maniacs, and welcome back to not only the Waffle Shed, but also to now that's what I call United Wrestling 2025. Volume 2, How It Ended. If you haven't had a chance to check out Volume 1, head over to the YouTube channel now and check that out before coming back here. Right, everyone up to date? Then let's go! For the first segment of this show, we're going to take a look at two stalwarts of United Wrestling throughout 2005, who, over the course of the year, competed for all but one of the titles out there. Both appeared at 8 out of the 9 events. Both were best known up until that point for their tag team prowess, and both were on very different paths going into 2025. Scotty Rourke, the lost boy of pro wrestling, did not have a good end to 2024. Having lost the World Tag Team titles for both he and Kira, whilst attempting to defend them solo against, within the Pillar Killers, the other subject of this section, Tony Kyle, the last show of the year also saw him robbed of a chance at Josh Spicer's Phantomweight title by the spectre of Hustle Malone. Having stolen Scotty's gold, TK and the PKs were having a very merry Christmas indeed, following up their title grab with the retention over crowd favourites Arthur Scurro and Chris Ares, and then starting the new year with a successful defence against the Robros. Despite being battered at times, Kyle, along with Holly, had an absolute ball at Broken Hearts and Broken Parts. Not just because they retained the world titles, but also because they had front row seats to watch a Luna's defection shatter the pillars, as covered last time out. All the celebrations did seem to cause some confusion for Tony, though. Tony Kyle!
Get my name right, bro. Tommy, not Tony.
After his recent disappointments, Scotty had a good start to 2025 too. Way back at All for Glory in the summer of 2024, Rourke was meant to face Mike Hitchman in the main event, but was gored by the boar backstage, leaving him unable to compete, with punishment seeker Chris Ares stepping in to take Scotty's place. With his head on the swivel in the lead-up, lest he get blindsided again, Rourke finally got his hands on Hitchman in the ring at Broken Hearts. And there he put the boar down, but not before Hitchman had taken his pound of flesh. Quite literally, the action spilled outside the ring and left the crowd running for cover at times, as Scotty wanted to take not only the victory, but also enact revenge for the injustice of his All for Glory locker room assault. With phase 1 of Scotty's redemption, the word of 2025, complete, he then turned his gaze to the title of the man who had cost him the Phantomweight belt, the absolute championship of Hustle Malone. But Hustle was nowhere to be seen. Creative differences, pay disputes, a blue M&M in that brandy glass full of brown ones. Whatever the case, he'd abandoned the project, leaving Scotty without an opponent, but still with the absolute title tantalisingly close. Enter from stage left the absolute Maverick, taking Hustle's place and looking to take the title that matches his moniker and bring further honours into the Pillar Killers fold. The Hold My Beer main event saw new levels of bitterness, brutality and bollock abuse, with both men looking to take their first singles title in the United ring and leave an indelible mark on their opponent. An absolute, pun intended, classic saw the match swing back and forth, and gratefully at times into the crowd. As is so often the case, it is not the size of the dog in the fight, but the size of the fight in the dog. Back from the brink, again and again and again, even when he was blasted in the face with his former title belt. Scotty finally landed a chin check and collapsed into a pin after its delivery, taking his first singles title at United. Oh, look how happy the crowd are. Oh, but if TK is anything, it's a poor loser, not a pilot. And it took the arrival of the Robros to rescue the new absolute champion from a post-match beatdown from the Maverick. When back to his feet, Scotty celebrated and congratulated TK on his part in demolishing the pillars, but then confirmed he and the Rose were the foundation of United Wrestling. And then invited TK and the PKs to come at them with all the gold on the line. The Absolute Championship and the World Tag Team titles going to the winners of a 3-on-3 tag match. The cocky pilot, of course, said yes. Scotty and the Little Knackers told Tony to bring his hardest bastards to whiskey business. And so he brought Josh Holley and Harry Sefton. So not a case of all pillar killer and no filler then. Jeez. This was a massive mistake to my mind. The Rows are a product of Scotty's doghouse and work seamlessly with him. The Killers, on the other hand, were looking more disjointed by the minute, with chaos reigning regularly throughout this epic, and Sefton not having the best audition for a full-time role as a killer. To save future generations from the next generation of killers, the Grimsby gang unleashed the battering can to breathtaking effect. And with the contest getting away from them, the killers had to fall back on dastardly measures, hoping to use their belts to gain an advantage until Ref Kyle rightfully intervened. 2 testicular traumas, 1 chin check, and a lethal Cam and Zack attack later, and this modern classic was settled. And who should congratulate the new champs first? To the shock of all, but the modern classic himself. Open-mouthed and empty-handed, TK was livid, the foundation standing strong, and the killers seemingly beginning to crumble. This was a tipping point for the previously harmonious partnership of Kyle and Holly. They had a chance to take another tilt at the Rose in a #1 contenders match, lost to Act 2 in a massive but pleasant shock. TK again blamed Holly and lost it as his partner again chose to congratulate the winners as opposed to clock them one. A slap to the face and a blow to Holly's berries, but paid to their partnership. With no gold, no backup, and no loyalties, the now lonely Tony Kyle next became the first wrestler in history to challenge for every title at United Wrestling, whilst losing to Kai Payne in a 4-way match for the vacant future-proof title, clocking up his 4th loss in a row in the process. This unprecedented streak in his in-ring career was finally faulted with a win at Monster Bash 4 over HMD, and he then set flight to his biggest and perhaps most personal clash to date, facing off against his former partner Josh Holley. But what of Scotty? For him, the year just kept getting better and better. Having defeated Kai Payne prior to the Firestarter's future-proof victory, Rourke was then reunited with his spiritual sister Kira Chimera as he faced the challenge of MJ Grayson, who was sneakily utilising his phantomweight belt's prerogative. But whatever the Icon of Sin tried, nothing would stick. Sneaky stipulations, getting DQ'd for finally hitting a ref, and then stepping onto the streets of Grimsby whilst in Oxford. There was no stopping Scotty's streak, with a trilogy of tattooed triumphs following, and most importantly, another belt around his waist. From the prospect of 2-title Tony, we were now living in the world of second-strapped Scotty. The only solace for the Pylo's pilot was that he scored the victory in the Clash of the Killers, again by despicable means. But then he rounded off the year with yet another loss, this time to a dominant neurotoxin. That left him with an unwanted record of 3 victories and 5 losses in 2025, while Scotty rounded off the perfect year with one final win against Aluna to send everyone home happy. It's ironic to see how the tide has turned. In January, TK and Aluna were basking in the glory of their dastardly deeds, but by December they were licking their wounds and scuttling away. We'll have to wait to see what each of these competitors will do next. Nana's scheduled to appear at February's First Love, so we'll have to wait a little longer to find out. Can Scotty repeat the feat and go lossless for another 12 months, defending both the Absolute and Phantomweight titles? Will we actually see TK at all? Rumour has it he's travelling to Japan. Perhaps he'll be flying himself there. Yeah, right. Whatever happens, whilst 2025 for TK may go down as absolute bollocks, for Scotty it was the absolute bollocks. Oh, sorry. Just taking care of some business. I'll sort that out later on. Right. Long-time United Wrestling fans will recall a certain man in black making his presence known over the years.
Till things are brighter, I'm the man in black.
Sadly, not that one. Not that one either. Right, let's start again. Look this way, please. Long-term United Wrestling fans will recall a certain masked man making his presence known over the last few years. At the last show of 2023, he laid down a season's beating on Santa and cancelled Christmas. The more eagle-eyed amongst you may have noticed he brought a traitorous little helper along, also masked on that occasion. The fans were left shocked and appalled at this motiveless attack. But having won the Christmas raffle, the WO weren't concerned about Crimbo cancellation. And with neither the victim nor the aggressor addressing the situation, everyone remained on edge as to what might happen next. It wasn't till back to the noughties, actually 2024, that the masked man next skulked into the fray, taking out Josh Spicer as he was on the cusp of claiming then bantamweight champion Harry Sefton's title, and then laying a boot into Sefton too, just for good measure. I have to admit, mixed emotions on that occasion, and as a United faithful and Sefton detractor, was warming to this mysterious interloper. Fast forward to 2025, the WO have retained their Christmas raffle title, and the Masked Man was on my personal shortlist for Wrestler of the Year. Broken Hearts and Broken Parts host, Argin Hunt, Team Blue, Kane, stroke Payne, stroke Tom Anstey, stroke Memes, was sidelined and on his drive to highlight gout awareness at the Tap Social. Now, I don't want to belittle the condition, but I was intrigued to see the Masked Man re-emerge and attempt a rather, dare I say, unorthodox treatment for kicking out the gout, but it may well have worked. Tom recovered and laid down a challenge to the masked miscreant, saying, as the only United original remaining, he would fight to regain his honour and status on the roster, or quit and turn his back on United and wrestling forever. Fingers crossed. So it was with great anticipation that at Summer on Tap, Tom Anstey took to the ring and awaited the arrival of Harry Sefton. Just for a picnic or a day out down the precinct. Not masked, sadly, and not ready for a match, or so it seemed. Despite jumping Tom, Sefton was unable to kickstart the retirement party. He was soon joined by none other than the Masked Man, whose intervention gave Anstey the victory and a chance to stay the end of his career. The chorus of boos that rang out were from all, regardless of their allegiance. But a silence followed, and in that silence, the revelation of the true identity of the Masked Man was finally revealed. None other than Rex Armstrong. Having been silent for so long, he now let his words speak beyond his actions. Directing a potty-mouthed tirade, measured at 8.5 on the S-Quest scale, Armstrong targeted all of the divs at United. He vented at being overlooked, despite he and Sefton being the self-proclaimed foundation of the company. Giving so much in building United for the current crop of pillars and killers, but as a real wrestler being left on red. Now, he's back. And
we are gonna break every single one of your favourite toys.
in 2026, it is with no surprise that the particular toys that Rex and Harry have their sights set on are those with the tag team titles and copyright to their new tag team name. 2 per Armstrong, 14-year-old boys. The Robros, Cam and Zach. Now, they may be young, but they are no ordinary tag team. In becoming the champions, they defeated the far more experienced Pillar Killers. Plus, filler. Remember that one, Harry? They defended the belts against the legendary Strong Dads, coming through the contest with the belts and revenge for the slights directed at Mama Rose Honor by Sunset Skip. They brought the final curtain down on Act 2's performance as #1 contenders and rounded off the year showing that however close personal friends are, the bond of brothers is stronger. Now, Rex and Harry may feel that the blood, sweat and tears that they have spilled together means they have that bond too. But need I remind you, Rex? That's not how any brother should act. We all know the story. It's the stuff of legends. A young man, inspired to achieve, prepares to scale the mountain. The journey is not an easy one, as it is beset on all sides by the prospect and fear of failure. But the mountain is scaled, the prize is grasped, and the place in the pantheon is assured. But is there a niggle, a sense of unfinished business, of unfulfilled destiny somewhere in the back of the young man's mind? This, my friends, is where we find Chris Ares. In mid-2025, he he sits unbroken, unbreakable, and undefeated as the United Wrestling Champion, but still unfulfilled. His own personal white whale, in the guise of his inspiration Mark Haskins, had inflicted an enduring beating and lesson, the only bump, and it was one hell of a bump, in the road to his current position. Having faced his fears and found faith in himself, Ares had called for redemption. See, there it is again. A chance to truly complete his ascension by avenging that defeat of 12 months prior versus Skins. And at the same venue, the same month of the year, and in an earth-shattering main event of Trouble Brewing, we had the same result. In the longest, most vicious and emotionally draining match of Ares' career, he was again felled by the hatchet, seconds short of an energy-sapping 30 minutes. The now former United Champion lay deposed and despondent. Haskins, belt in the air, trumpeted a huge changing of the guard, a victory for men over boys, in his words. It's almost as if I can hear Rex Armstrong taking notes somewhere. And as Ares disbelievingly shuffled to the locker room, another of those boys, the newly minted future-proof champion and United Six spearhead, Kai Payne, made his entrance. Paying little attention to the desolate figure of Ares, the Firestarter made his intentions clear to the new undisputed champion. He'd be taking a shot at Haskins' new belt, but not yet, as he was following medical advice to take time to recover. Haskins was having none of it and provoked Payne into an immediate cash-in. Kai Payne, the successor to Arthur Scarrow, endorsed by Arthur Scarrow, was also cursed, just like Arthur Scarrow, by the future-proof title. The hatchet targeted the admittedly injured neck of the Firestarter, and with Ares watching and Arthur Scarrow attempting to intervene, Haskins finished business and destroyed the fairy tale ending for two of Brit Wrestling's finest young prospects, all in one night. With a super beast next awaiting Haskins, a backstage confrontation post-Trouble Brewing set wheels in motion for a #1 contenders match to Haskins. Whilst Arthur Scarrow helped with Payne's treatment, a shattered Ares left the venue, but not before facing down the Firestarter. Which of these two broken champions would stand tall when they next faced off and take their chance to again compete for the top belt and potentially take some revenge on Haskins? Obviously, only one of them could take that chance, but shockingly, only one of them was able to make the opening bell of their bout. In dramatic scenes moments before their Monster Bash 4 match, Payne was found injured, attacked backstage, and replaced by the former Wonderland warrior, Aluna. Aluna had been stalking Ares since her attack on him at the start of the year, notably slinking in to provoke Ares after his defeat of Harrison Bennett, and then further riling him by no-showing their scheduled match at Summer on Tap. But with his focus now solely on Haskins, revenge on Aluna had gone down the list of priorities. Would her actions shatter Ares again when he was so close to attaining one last chance at his self-styled redemption? In short, no. Ares cast aside all doubt and distraction to put Aluna to the sword and forge ahead to book his third face-to-face with Haskins, who overcame the returning Liam Jones in the Battle of United Wrestling's Unbeaten. Deep breath, everyone. Christmas pun saw that trilogy match. The three-demption match, if you will. Trademark. What do you mean the maths doesn't work? Only his second redemption match. Haskins versus Ares. Man versus boy. Not my words. Inspiration versus inspired. Previously undefeated versus previously unbreakable. And finally, against the odds and against desperation, Ares wins, overcoming his own personal El Guapo in Haskins to complete his quest. Not that one. And take his throne in the pantheon as the Legion King and third ever two-time United Wrestling Champion. Redeemed. A great end to the year, right? We have the Row Bros, the future and foundation of United Wrestling, as our World Tag Team Champions. The absolute title nestles in the grasp of Scotty Rourke along with the Phantomweight title. The cursed future-proof title awaits its next victim. Holder. Might need to work on the PR for the FP there. And above all, a happy, fulfilled champion that we can all be proud of. Can? Not anymore. After a thrilling final match of the year saw Ares retain his reacquired gold against Violet Knight, we had a touching family moment. It being the season, his sister from another mister, Artemis, returned to United to spectate, and our captain, but more importantly, our champion's brother, Arthur Scarrow, take him to the ring to congratulate him. But what happened next was so shocking that even I would struggle to put it into words.
sure you ain't challenging this with a torn ACL?
You know damn well I'm not standing here to challenge you. I want to thank you, because you are an inspiration, not just to me, but to all these people. But more importantly, you make me want to come back and be world champion too.
King no more. In his place, a mad monarch, a despot where once we had a defender of the just, a lone figure set apart by his despicable actions, not his achievements. With a single kick, a family divided, a bond broken, and a champion undisputedly beyond redemption. Before I head off to Reading, an apology. It's been pointed out that I didn't wish you all a happy new year in the last episode. But seeing as there are chocolate eggs everywhere in the supermarkets, let's head straight to a happy Easter. That is, of course, after we've spread some first love. Did that sound a bit dodgy? I mean, who writes this stuff? Right, at First Love, we'll have our first chance to take in the new roster at Reading. Established stars, plucky newcomers, and a new figurehead in the shape of a mysterious GM. My prediction of Gordon the Gopher and Ed the Duck getting the gig as puppets for the higher powers is yet to be disproved. And if that bet comes off, next episode will be coming not from the Waffle Shed, but from the Waffle Yacht. Plus, hot off the press, there's a new host too, but that also still remains a mystery. Odd, I see a familiar silhouette in the tease though. Anyway, what's on the most romantic card of the year? There will definitely be no love lost in our World Tag Team title match, with the battle for the belts and maybe the IP on the line, with the Robros versus the Divs. The Foundation. Levi Cooper makes his much anticipated Reading return, this time against the backbreaker Neurotoxin, who is building on a foundation of recent victories herself. We have 3 matches in the tournament to decide who will next hold the currently cursed future-proof title. Loss in the first round may not be a bad thing, people. Match 1. Tournament specialist and super heavyweight champion Liam Jones will face Tyler Walker. And there is some hope that there'll be no shenanigans involving the United Boss or Jimmy Player. Jones' loss against Haskins has seen him sent to the back of the queue. But here's a chance for the Super Beast to get back on the front foot against Royalty. No, sorry. I nearly kept a straight face there. Match 2 sees Violent Knight take on Denzel Mack. Both debuted at United in 2025 and made huge impressions. Mack with incredible feats of strength in the BFG Rumble, and Violent more than holding her own in a tilt at the United World Championship. Will 2026 be the year they come good on their early promise? Match 3 has Chris Angel descending from heaven, or the top of the Christmas tree, to see if he can continue his winning streak against the Maltese Mountain, Dave Bavara. You heard that right. Chris Angel got the perfect Christmas gift, defeating MJ Grayson at United Divided and laying to rest that particular ghost, much as he'd previously continuously been laid to rest himself. And rounding out the bill, we have the United World Championship on the line. Like the World Tag Titles, this belt will not be tied to either Oxford or Reading, and here we will doubtless have 2 of the biggest reactions of the night, as fan favourite and United darling, the man of culture Tig, squares off against the, dare I say, former fan favourite and United darling, world champion Chris Ares. 2026 is about to kick off in a big big way. I'll be back very soon with a romantic rundown of all of the ruckus at Reading. Until then, I've been Hicksy. This has been the Waffle Shed. Waffle yacht next week. SITKWTWO.